that's my kid getting it wrong. All right. So, oh yes, she edited her book. Parliament of Papas here. This is from CaseyJay. Okay, I feel like Casey Kasem. This letter is from CaseyJay, who is sitting in Australia listening right now to us. He says this is what he wrote to us, and we're getting around to addressing it, and we definitely want to help out here. I'm terrified that being autistic, I'm ill-equipped to properly support my kids. Like when my daughter hits her teenage years, I'm scared I'll fail her. We'll go ahead and pause right there. All dads of all walks of life are scared of the exact same thing all the time, sir. You're in good company. All right, here Casey says, I remember when she was born trying to find support for autistic parents, but every time I searched, I only got support for parents of autistic children, not parents with autism. Yeah, that's a big one, and that's a tough one. So for the council or the Parliament of Papas, what advice can we give from all our walks of life of how to find help and how to trust yourself as a parent? And Mordant, I know you say I haven't had kids, and you have guided people, you've helped people, you've helped me, you've been around my kids, you've got advice to give on finding yourself.
Well, for I'm not autistic. I am ADHD, neurodivergent, very high functioning. I found a lot of help with there's a YouTube channel called How to ADHD, and she gives advice. She gives some tools that you can work with. She also talks about has some autistic guests on and people that coach both people with ADHD and autism. My thing would be to, there is help out there, and you're going to find it with people who, he said that people who are parents of autistic children, they're the ones who have researched it really. You're also going to find some people who have autism who have gone into the coaching field. So you can find it. You just got to seek it out online, and maybe talking to those parents who seem to have, because of their autistic children, they've already researched all this. You can ask them and find out where they found their information from.
But what he's also looking for, and I think that would help, because if they research it for their kids, they can help you with it. But he's got autism, right, and is the parent, and that's I get where he's finding that. That's probably not I wouldn't say normal. That's a stupid word. Not a statistically big thing that people search for, because I'd say it's probably the other way around.
Well, it's getting more and more into the mainstream. I mean, you can find a lot of ADHD stuff out there, but there's more along with that is autistic people.
Everybody's on spectrum just a little bit.
Yeah, everybody's on spectrum just a little bit, but now it's becoming more in the mainstream. I've seen TikTok channels, I've seen YouTube channels where people who are talking about their experience, and experience with their partners, if they have experience with their children. So I think that he could find someone out there who has already paved the way, and if not, and if this was his jam, if not, then there's definitely a vacuum for that. There's definitely a space for that and a need for that. Maybe he's the one that's going to be able to help those other people. But
that's
I don't know if that helps him right now.
Yeah. What do you think, Joe?
So my wife is actually, her education is in special education as well as in early childhood education. And one of the things that she had suggested, because her and I actually discussed about this, and I asked what she would suggest. She said playing out scenarios in your mind, different scenarios that could come up with children as they're getting older, and determining ahead of time how you would react. That way you're not shocked. That way you've already played it out in your head and you know what your plan is. Now, plans often go off the rails, so you can't be prepared for everything, and kids will definitely throw all kinds of curveballs at you. But having run through those scenarios might give you a bit more confidence.
Okay, I get that. That has actually worked for me some in the past. I've come to this realization: while there are definitely bad parents in the world, there are no good parents. There are only parents who did the best they could with what they had at the time. And I mean, I feel like my parents did the best they could with their trauma that they just never dealt with. I did the best I could with my set one, and I had a lot of trauma, and then I dealt with my trauma, at least most of it. Sometimes somebody resurfaces, you got to go back to work. And then set two got almost a different dad out of it. And it was the best I could do at the time. And so, Casey, that terrified of failing your kids, man, that's everybody. And
not everybody, but bad parents don't care about failing their kids.
Okay.
So right off the bat, that means Casey is not a bad parent because he's already taking into consideration and worrying about failing his kids. So in my mind, that means he's not a bad kid or bad kid. He's not a bad parent.
Yeah. And that whole idea of telling stories that matter to you, that changed your life, and the people that did it, most of the time it can be parents, but the people that they don't realize, right, what kind of good impact they made. Because you always, my dad, I went to lunch with my dad today, and he likes Pepsi. My sister apparently has gone, as he phrased it, to the dark side and drinks Coke. And like, well, I guess you just didn't raise her right. He goes, well, I fell with you. I fell with her. I was like, no, you didn't fail with me. I'm awesome. I'm a rock god. She's a homebody that drinks Coca-Cola. You failed with her. I'm good though. But that's, man, my firstborn dropped out of school, and it killed me. I mean, there was nothing I could do, and I can look back at some failures I had. You can always look back and go, I should have been harder on him. Maybe I should have pulled him to a line instead of taking the tactic I did. But at the same time, I have a good relationship with him that me and my father didn't have to that level. Right. So,
what's he doing now?
Living in the van down by the river, practically. I'll have to take pictures and send it to you, but we have a mini compound here.
I thought you were going to say he started his own business. He's really doing really well. He's helping us pay the bills. I'm like, that's awesome.
Okay. He is actually helping pay the bills a little bit, his part of the bills. But we actually have a little mini compound. I'm not like, so this is an outdoor studio I'm sitting in, and then next to it, and it's like 16 by 20, I think. Then there's these little barns out here that are 8 foot by 8 foot square for each of the kids to have their own space. And about a year ago, once he started working full time, he just decided, instead of sharing a room with his brother in the air conditioning house, he moved out to the shed out in the backyard that has no power. Well, it's got a drop cord, but no power to air conditioning. But he's got his Xbox and his TV on a drop cord. He's happy.
That's his kingdom.
Yeah, it really is. And I'm like, cool. Without knowing it, you kind of took my path. I took over my parents' enclosed garage and made it my little apartment. But he's working full time. He's got a steady girlfriend, and he's paying his insurance bill and some other little things he's got to do, and he's doing all right. But the point, it is right. He's doing okay, and that's what I had to come to as a father. And Casey, coming back to Casey, this one goes out to the one I love. What Cats in the Cradle. That
song. Come on.
I like chaos just a little bit.
Us.
All right. It isn't so bad.
If you know, you know.
Yeah, go look it up. It's a great, so catchy song, but listen to the lyrics, you're like, oh my God. But no, Casey, through that moment of him making bad decisions, screwing up at work, just adamantly, I mean, it came down to either he and I could fight and I could threaten to kick him out, or I could just say, I can't force him to go to school.
Mm-mm.
He as I just had to
force him to waste your money.
Yeah, well, that's true. Well, no, he dropped out of high school.
Where you paid for what? He dropped out of
high school. Yeah.
No, he was only a few months away, right? Wasn't he only a few months?
Blood pressure, Joe. Blood pressure. Keep me off the
not reminding me if he wants to. He get,
Yes, exactly. And so I had to give him paths, and one of them was like, okay, if you pick this obvious path you're gonna pick, you got to become an adult now, and that means you're paying rent, you're paying this bill of yours, and you got to keep a job, and the bills don't stop coming. And if
you show him that you're supporting him, then he's gonna still keep coming to you and trusting you with stuff.
Yeah, I did have to say that is like, I said, I'm gonna treat you like my creator friends. We're close, but like you more than I love you, but your life is not my life. So if you're doing something like, dude, that is the dumbest thing, don't do it. I'll tell you. And if you do it anyway, okay, I'll be here to help you pick up the pieces. And I didn't feel that with my son until when we dropped out. That transition for me was like, okay, I'll be here to help you. I'll support you. But now it's your life. It's what you can do. And It's now or never. Thank you, random kid. So yeah, I would say it gets better. It gets different. Hopefully the problems you have with the young ones, you'll have different problems as teenagers. And if you just work on communication with them on whatever level you can, and sometimes get the cops to come by and scare them. That's all I can say.